Conversations with my mother.
Greetings, Empresses. Welcome once again to Conversations with My Mother. This is my mother, Dr. Betty Burston.
And this is my daughter, Dr. Shatria Collier.
So today, ladies, we are focusing on the badder the boy, the harder we fall. So today, one of the things that we're focusing on is not just, it's why we're attracted to bad boys. How many of you have had a bad boy in your life? What is it about bad boys that we like so much? So before we even get into this whole idea of a bad boy and defining bad boys, we want to really just get into this idea of attraction. What is it that makes human beings attracted to one another? So, Mommy, what are your thoughts on that? Or what has the research said about that?
Well, there's an entire body of research that has looked at it. I don't think we've told you guys before, but we really are pulling from a body of research on marriage and the family in doing these conversations, as well as, just our own individual thoughts. But the body of research on attraction theory says that people tend to be attracted to people who are more similar. Now, we hear that opposites attract, but overall the research shows that it's similarity theory. People are more attracted to people who are similar in age, similar even in terms of physical beauty, similar in terms of ethnicity, similar in terms of social class. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that the literature has not addressed fully, there have been some popular articles that have looked at the whole issue of women's attraction to bad boys. And I would like to say that this particular conversation is dedicated to 3 men who are present today in the studio, who are all bad boys and who have different relationships to the two of us.
So how do we define a bad boy?
When we talk about a bad boy, we're not talking about prisoners. We're not talking about the pathologically insane. We're not talking about the men who brutalize women. When we talk about bad boys, we're talking about a group of men for whom there is excess demand. And because...
What do you mean by that, excess demand?
There is something about these men that attracts women, and it's a very undefined type of quality. It could be their charm, it could be their sexuality, it could be they could be suave, it could be the presence that they have. You've seen the silent type of bad boys who don't talk a lot. They don't smile a lot. But there's something about them that's extremely compelling. You've seen the other type of bad boy that walks into a room and he oozes sensuality. And women find that compelling. You're talking about another type of bad boy, such as the one who's currently sitting on the patio, whose genius and his intellect and his cavalier attitude toward women find compelling.
It's funny, I think it's interesting that you say that, because we really have been talking, my girlfriend and I were just talking the other day about the impact that confidence has on also attraction.
Yes.
You can, as we said before, you don't have to be an attractive person, but if you're confident, that makes people attracted to you as well, I think.
It's one of the strongest thing, because all bad boys, even though it happens that the ones here today are very handsome, but all bad boys are not good looking.
Or bad girls.
Are bad girls. But we'll talk about bad girls another time. Oh. But all bad boys are not good looking. I don't want to name any celebrities who would fit into that particular category. So it's not that. But yet, there's something about these men that women find compelling. Mm-hmm. And my philosophy is that we as women create bad boys.
Talk about that more. I agree with you completely.
We have Caleb is one of our grandsons. Caleb is now 7 years old, but even at the age of 3, you know that Caleb is going to grow up to be a bad boy. The reason is because Caleb is charming, he's charismatic, he knows exactly what to say to females. He's only 7 now, and this has been true ever since he was able to talk. So what is happening with Caleb is that all the little girls at school love him. And there's an excessive demand for Caleb. So in that process, what women do is to create a polygamous man.
Do you think that, let's say, we as, his aunt and you as the grandmother or his mother, do you think that we could keep him from becoming a bad boy?
Well, see, no, I don't think we ought to do that. Because all bad boys are not necessarily bad for you unless their price is too high, if you understand what I'm saying. Many women want bad boys, but they really can't manage a relationship with bad boys. I'm married to a bad boy, and he's a wonderful husband. And I've been married to several bad boys, some good boys too, but some bad boys also.
Yeah.
So it's the management factor. Biblically, we speak of people who are evenly yoked. And a woman who knows her power can manage relationships with bad boys. But the problem comes in because so many women don't know their power, but yet they desire these men for whom there is excess demand. And in the process, they end up becoming damaged because they are not, at that point, evenly yoked. Bad boys are, the demand for them, the excess demand for them comes because they're empowered men.
Yes.
They're confident. They're charming when they want to be charming. They have all of these attributes in this basket of goods that we as women value.
So do you think that you said you're married to a bad boy, does that make you a bad girl?
No, I'm a nice girl.
Okay, so we'll talk at another point. We're going to talk about communication, and you said something about being able to manage being with a bad boy.
You're part
your
of the
management
relationship.
skills.
It's not, you
relationship.
can never manage a man.
Your relationship management skills.
Exactly.
And we'll talk at another time about how does one hone, particularly if you're with a bad boy. Now, I have been attracted to bad boys in the past, but I think I prefer good guys. So that's just my particular. Now, let me ask you this.
Behavior speaks louder than words, baby.
Do you think that good guys finish last? That old saying.
No, I don't think that. What I think is that good guys like to say that because they don't want to be responsible for taking ownership of the fact that they need to make themselves more exciting. They need to make themselves more interesting. Do you see? They need a lot of what so-called the good guys who finish last use their being boring men as an excuse. It's not their goodness. It's the fact that they have allowed themselves to be a boring person. They have allowed themselves to be a non-confident person, you see. So those are the type of attributes. It has nothing to do with their being the so-called, what we're calling bad boys. I'm only labeling that because there's such excess demand for them. And I have a nephew who's an extremely handsome young man. He's a physician, wonderful conversation, but he walks like a farmer, and he will not correct that. If he did not walk like a farmer, he would have loads and loads of suitors, female suitors. And some so-called good guys, as I said, people use that as an excuse for not being all that they can be.
So is there a happy medium, though? We talk about, because it seems like two extremes. So what about the happy medium?
It's not so much a happy medium. I think it's wonderful for bad guys to be people to be what they are, but I think it's important for people to be the most of what it is that they are. Anybody can be an interesting person. Do you see? Anybody can be charming if they so choose to be charming. Anybody can learn the so-called male-female game and apply that game. But some people use the excuse, I don't believe in playing games. Life is a game. So don't use that as an excuse, you see, to learn the relationship game. But I also have to tell, I don't know how much time we have left, but it's very important, ladies, that if you're the type who has demand for bad boys, you have to examine yourself and see what your level of self-empowerment is, so that you don't get damaged in the process. If you are the jealous, possessive, insecure type, stay away from bad boys. If you are the type who has not developed any interesting conversation, Stay away from bad boys because
Yeah.
they're going to get bored with you soon. If you're overly sensitive, oh, that hurt my feelings. Those are words that a bad boy hates to his core. Stay away from them because their attitude is, I don't want to be responsible for your happiness. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm simply trying to enjoy life. But the other thing about bad boys is that when they do commit to you, they're committed. And the reason is because they can get any woman they want. If they choose to marry you, it's because they want to be with you.
So what advice do you have for those women who have fallen for the bad boys over and over again, but in a detrimental way?
I think it's time to
There's a
look
lot of women
at
out there who are doing that.
our choices. You know, we have to look at our human choices, and we have to claim responsibility for ourselves. We have to say, what is it, whether he's bad or good or in between, if the man doesn't adore you, you know, that's a bad choice to be with him. Do you see? So we have to take responsibility for those choices. And we not just take responsibility, we have to begin making different choices.
Yeah. I want to go back to something that you said a minute ago about this whole idea of people changing themselves, changing who they are. I was talking to someone the other day, and she was saying, oh, you know, about all of these relationship books, they tell you to be yourself, but then it's like you can't really be yourself. Can you say a little bit more? Because there are certain rules I feel that we need to learn, rules of engagement. We can't just interface as if we don't know these rules of engagement. I don't know, what do you think?
We choose. That's the wonderful thing about what God did with us. We choose the people that we want to be. The same person that we are today, we don't have to be that person tomorrow unless we choose to be it. You know, if I chose, I could be a bad girl. I went too old now. But in my
well, you
youth,
see how she says that all innocently, right?
But no,
I'm a good girl.
But we choose.
She's a recovering bad girl, ladies.
Okay, this show's over.
Okay.
That's not true. Everybody the people out there who've known me for 40 and 50 and 60, almost 65 years will tell you I'm not. In high school, they used to call me Douglas High School's little angel because I was a good girl.
So am I a good girl or a bad girl?
You're like me. So whatever it is that I am, that's what you are. You notice you look like me, you're like me, except you try to be a little tough when you're hurting inside.
Oh, okay. Well, ladies, on that note, we're going to stop right there. But I think one of the key things is whether you're a good boy or a good girl or a bad boy or a bad girl, be yourself, you know, and be comfortable with who you are and understand the choices that you're making. Anything else?
Right. Choose who you want to be. Make it a conscious decision.
Yes.
And also, the other thing I put in there is making sure you incorporate God's rules for living in how you choose to be. And you'll end up happy. And we're going to do, our next show is going to talk about some of the things, the communication errors that women make. Okay. But that's what I would say.
All right. So we love you and have a wonderful day.
Conversation.